So what are Florida voters looking for? Joining me now, Lenny Curry, chairman of the Republican Party of Florida. Lenny, thanks for joining me tonight. It's great to have you here. We're all looking forward to this contest. And tonight, Mitt Romney giving a prebuttal, not a rebuttal to the State of the Union, but a prebuttal. Here's what he had to say. I'm going to have you respond.
The president will do what he does best. He'll give a nice speech, a lot of memorable phrases in it, but he won't give you the hard numbers, like 9.9% unemployment here in Florida, or 25%. That's the percentage of foreclosed homes in America that are here in Florida, or $15 trillion. That's the size of America's national debt under this president.
Are those the issues that Floridians are worried about?
Yeah, in Florida, Floridians are concerned about jobs. Recently in Florida, over the last year, we have seen a 31-month low on unemployment, and we've seen over 135,000 private sector jobs created due to Governor Scott and our Republican legislature's conservative fiscal policy. But that is the focus of Florida Republicans right now, and Mitt Romney, Governor Romney, is right on. The president was elected with majorities in the House and the Senate, and he did not focus on this economy. He's now pivoted to have to pretend like that's a concern of his and that he cares about the free market, but we know that's not the case.
Well, it's certainly a big debate that's raging. Another debate that was raging last night in the GOP debate was about Newt Gingrich and his involvement in the housing meltdown. I want you to hear something from that debate.
What I did on behalf of Medicare, I did out in the open, publicly, and that is my right as a citizen.
Here's why it's a problem, Mr. Speaker. Here's why it's a problem. And that is, if you're getting paid by health companies, if your entities are getting paid by health companies that could benefit from a piece of legislation, and you then meet with Republican congressmen and encourage them to support that legislation, you can call it whatever you'd like. I call it influence peddling.
Influence peddling, and influence peddling in a market that is near and dear to the hearts of Floridians, housing. How is that going to go down with voters there? Are they paying attention to what looks like taking money right out of the pockets of the housing industry that Newt is accused of here?
Well, look, here's what the voters recognize. Going back, Republicans certainly have their share of the blame, and the voting public threw us out back in 2008. But Republicans got the message loud and clear that we spent too much money, that our money policy was too loose, and the Democrats didn't get that message. So our candidates, all of our guys running for president, understand the importance of fiscal policy. They understand that government intervention is what created this problem, and more government intervention is not going to clean it up. The reason the housing market has not hit the bottom is because the government continues to tinker with it and will not let the market fix it.
Got a long way to go there, that's for sure. And Florida continues to suffer from the fallout of the housing debacle. I want to talk about the voting that's going to go on in Florida and what to expect out of that. My understanding is that most of the Republicans in Florida, many of them, are concentrated in the Orlando-Tampa area. They're, of course, sprinkled throughout the state. What does that look like in detail? How many people do you expect to vote? Will there be a big turnout?
There's over 4 million registered Republicans. We do expect big turnout. But I will tell you, when you talk about the I-4 corridor, or you talk about North Florida or the Panhandle or South Florida or different ethnic groups, I think it comes down to one thing. We shouldn't be grouping people based on their ethnicity or their socioeconomic background. Republicans must make the moral case for the free market. That's what has given generations of people opportunity and lifted more families out of poverty. And
it's interesting that you say that, because I always think Florida, too, is being home of a lot of retirees. And these are people who are very interested in the fate of Social Security, the fate of Medicare. They are focused like a laser beam on that. So don't you think the Republican Party needs an answer on that, too?
Well, yeah, but that answer, again, starts with a robust free market. We need to reform Social Security and Medicare and honor our obligations. But if we're going to honor those obligations and fund those obligations, you must have a robust economy with companies here, with an educated workforce, and with people working.
Let's talk about absentee ballots, early ballots, a lot of them coming in already. Mitt Romney has done a good job of trying to prime the market. He says, his campaign at least says, he's got as many as 100,000 of the votes, some 280,000, nearly 300,000 votes cast already. What is that starting to look like? Do you have a sense of how it's going to affect the race as a whole?
Well, yes, to your point, Mitt Romney got an early start on the absentee vote, but we really have no idea what that looks like. Much of that started before Newt won South Carolina. We still have a long way to go between now and next week. The debate on Thursday will be critical. I think voters are ultimately going to pick the candidate that they believe connects with them on the free market and how the free market and job creation will affect their individual lives.
Well, early polling shows that Gingrich has got an early lead here at 38% over Romney. Romney had a lead and then fell back. Changes every minute, it seems. Thanks so much for coming on tonight. We really appreciate your time. You've got to come back as we analyze these numbers when they finally do come in. Thank you.
Always a pleasure. Thank you.